Okay, in the bottom of page Lamed Hey, in the middle of discussing it's a very important distinction that Chassidus makes. It's all based, the first point of that is made in the Torah Parshas Chukas. The two parts of the Yitzhak, there's the Koyach HaMisave and there's the Tzior. There is the drive, the very strong drive into something which that's a unique the Nefesh HaNeit. So I say the language Yitzhak, but Chassidus uses language Nefesh HaBahamis. Nefesh HaBahamis has a very strong drive. It's called the Koyach HaMisave. And our mission, that's the way it's described in the Torah Chukas. The mission is to use that energy, that drive, into positive. In other words, if I understand correctly, what he's saying there is that the Nefesh Elikis, because it's in a state of bittul, doesn't have a drive for action. It's a drive for be connected to the Eibishter like it says in Tanya about the Eish that the Ritzel is color. He wants to dissolve. Nefesh HaBahamis is the opposite. It's about himself. He has a strong drive to succeed, to be alive. This type of drive is really for Nefesh HaBahamis. The purpose of the Avodas Hashem is to convert the Koyach HaMisave. It should be l'Gedush. Now, in our Maimah, I think also in the Maimah, because the kids also at this point, it says there are three stages here. There's the Koyach HaMisave, the Tziur Hara. Tziur Hara means that for the Nefesh HaBahamis, the actual drive is in evil. Evil means taivas. Gashem is like a taivas. So that's negative. It's a negative direction. So our mission is to divert that energy from the negative direction to the positive direction. Then the third thing is called Maisara, the actual act of evil. So there are three things here. In our mind, I add another point. The negative, the Tzior, there's the oilers and the kalim, the content and the oisius. That's mamish, very subtle state. So what he said was like this: that the regular avodah, so the koyach hamisave can be converted, can be rediverted, but the Maisara, not the Maisara, what do you call it, the Tzior, that cannot be transformed into good. So Nefesh HaBahamis has a drive has a very big koch, we call it a koch, drive to do things to satisfy its own taivas. So we have to redivert that drive into positive, but the negative part, the tziora, that we push away. That's the regular. The next stage is the tshuva. To tshuva, even the tziora can be transformed. Then it's not like zachis. Like it says in Tiny Perek Zayin, that energy, that tziora that made you want to do evil, that itself can be transformed into good because you find the positive in it. You use it as a stepstone to do positive things. But then there's a third level, which is the Maisara, the actual act of evil. That even Tshuva can't transform. That you have to destroy. Like I said, he added not only the Maisara, the Tzio, the Asius also has to be. And so that is what we learn here, bottom of page Lamed Hey. Now he adds, so the last thing said that as far as the Maisara itself and the Asius.
The Asius are like thinking about the Aver, like what he's going to do, or the actual Aver, what he's thinking, it's not really the actual the thoughts.
Exactly. The thought, that's the Asius. The thought.
Right.
and the the ice it's a very subtle split. There's the move, there's the taiva, and there's the way like you remember it says very you're thinking about it, you're doing it, so that has an aspect there's nothing positive to it. In other words, you cannot convert it into something positive. The fact that you have the drive to do something to satisfy your taiva, that there's a positive aspect to it. It can be converted into good because it's the actual Maise and also the thought about it, the Moisius, that has to be destroyed. Well, then that's 3 lines from the bottom of Lamed Hey. Well, then I was
destroy. You mean that but through Teshuvah that can be?
No. That's what he says. Teshuvah can only fix the rotzen, but not the oisius, not the act. ועל זה נאמר וסשו מצאו לסיים כל חטויס, אבל עצם היסורת, נתפס ודע לו אורי, הנה מכיר כמוכם, לא יסתובן הפשע, in the Maimer in Koteteo, like it says in the bottom, but the Ramatz, where it's Koteteo, Rosh Hashanah, that part even Tshuva cannot help. That has to be, in other words, what Tshuva does is forget about it, run away from it, not transform it. So but this whole purpose is brought for purpose. Remember, in page Lamed Dalet, he spoke about the Maimel Yoim Tachtonim, part of the Maimel Yoim. Just like this, in the digestive system, the psoilus is originally part of the good part. The same thing here. This lowest psoilus, which is the Maisa even that psoilus has some shemet, some small part of nafshel kis.
It's a quick question. But by saying by Durdayo, it said that so all the aver that he did, and the last moment he went straight to Gan Eden. So the Masehara, so it didn't have to pay for it, and the Maise. In other words, that's what my understanding is, correct? So in other words, whatever he did, it was wiped out.
Oh, wiped out, right? Wiped out, yes. Okay, so there's a difference between wiping out and transforming. Okay, you're talking about. Okay, what you're saying is true that Tshuva has the power. But what he tells us here was that in Zdonis Nasa Kazachias Gufa there are 2 parts. Part of it is deleted, and part is transformed into good. So the Maisa is just deleted. It dissolves, and the energy, the Rotzain, that part becomes part of the positive energy. That's what he's saying.
But from here, it seems like he's saying the stays. What does that mean, the stays?
What?
It's saying the stays. The Masara is the stays. This cannot be vanished.
That's what it says.
Again, so Mr. from this statement saying it's not going to be wiped out. It's not going to be lifted or whatever.
Wiped out. That's what litris means. It's wiped out. It's not turned into good, but it disappears. That's what Sashra b'Mitzulas Yom Kol Chatoisim. Sashra, it's thrown away. It's not turned into good, but it's thrown away. Like chametz, you burn the chametz, you throw it away. It's not something that you turn into positive. That aspect has to be erased. But he brings it here for a different purpose. But psoilus agasa, that lowest level of psoilus, which is the Maisa, it has some kind of, even this Maisa, he's going to tell us, he's going to discuss this further. Hagam is bar when it's nifodo. Taka chut to tshuva. You separate the good for the bad. even after it's totally torn away, there's something left there. There's some shemets of good left there. כמו דרך מושל הפסרת עץ הגז שהמחל נתחל לחוץ, הרי זה מחל כפונים דבר אחר. Wow. Yeah. בערך שיש בזה איזה חייס. Now, he brings up some mashal from something, from a real, you know, that דבר אחר, a chazer, what does a chazer eat? He eats the tsoya. So we see that even interesting mashal. We have to understand all these things are just mashalim to bring out a point. So if the fact is that davar acher can derive chayes from the tsoya, so we must say that even the tsoya, which was pushed away, has some kind of life force in it. That's a mashal. The nimshal, it means that even the ma'aser hara, because since the ma'aser hara, which is nitche, must have some kind of shemetz of chayes aliki. Al zeh omar. So what's the nimshal? The nimshal is the soil azazel. Remember, we started talking about the soil azazel. The nimshal is zama v'nosa soil olo v'savoynes bnei Yisrael. The soil mishtalea, the soil azazel, carries the avoynes, the sins, which means ein al acha tshuva. Sheniva kol chakera. After we did tshuva, it's in Kippur. We did tshuva, and all the positive things. I'm sorry, all the positive things was separated and elevated. Not only that, not on, like we said earlier, not only the to tshuva, even the avazor that drive is also converted to good. But nisha psas eser gas she actually is not on the type. There's one part of the psas eser gas, the most crude psiles that cannot be converted to good. Zeu shenoisnim l'ser mishtaleh shenois el mekabel nikum zeh. So this is given to the ser mishtaleh, which is a mashal like that. There's a famous R'chaim in Parshas Achrei, and it explains that ser mishtaleh is a remez of the kaiches of Klippa. So that another way to say it, in order to quiet down the persecutor, or upstairs says a gash, so that is the meaning of the Ser Mishtaleh.
That's why it has to be exactly the same as the two goats. It has to be the same exactly.
Why, Marcus? So you're saying it now, but what is the same?
I'm saying that because in other words, what that represent. I'm just thinking. I mean, it's like the
yeah. So that's an interesting. This entire. Okay, don't forget we started the discussion. That's what we started all discussion. In the bottom of page Lamed Aleph, here's the question: how is it possible that klippas have chayes? How can klippas have chayes? So the answer was the first mashal from Paradis was from the digestive system. So he's sticking to that mashal. Then he went in the middle. He spoke about arts and nefshalikis in the ma'aser hara. The ma'aser hara, that the fact is the ma'aser hara stays a negative, and that gives chayes to the klippas, because that is not transformed into good. What is it? How could we do it? That's the mitzvah. So number one, it's Tzivah Kodesh Baruch Hu. He's above everything. He can do it. Another way we see that it comes that ability to give koyach to the chitzonim, to the klippas, comes from such a very high madrego. Everything is equal. That is the end of the goyro. Goyro, the concept of goyro means it's above. When something is by goyro, by lot, It's above cheshbon. It's above logic. Like you just mentioned. And the Gemara says in Pasuk that the bot seirim have to be equal. וכסיב והם ידעו לפני השם, ויפל עליהם גרולה, יסגור הלכת להווי. די נשמע על ידי המשך המשפום, נכנס לפני הווי, בשם הווי. So he brings another correct here. It says גור הלכת להווי. What does להווי mean? That the גורל is ממשיך in הווי, because the גורל itself is above שם הווי, לפני הווי. וזהו שאמרנו שדם על הבייס קודש הקדושים, and that's מרומז in the fact that the dam of the soil החי was sprayed, or what the word was poured in the Kodesh HaKadoshim, because Kodesh HaKadoshim ksiv v'ivdila ha'paris lachem bein HaKodesh bein HaKadoshim shezeh k'moy ha'psik time in ha'bei shem etzavai, that we just learned it in the Maimer before. ואם כן, כשמכניסים דם מבייס ha'paris זה הלא הפנס לפני הווי, ומשום ממשיכים הלא הפנס HaKodesh על שם הווי, שבא ישראל זה אצילוס. So that's the koyach, the Sarah Chai, which was the korban, and the Dama Sarah Chai was the Makrivet and Kodesh HaKadoshim. That expresses the aspect of that it's a gilui, it's a amshacha from a madrig of goyel, which is above Havai. Psik, like we learned in the Maimer before. Psik time begavai. Psik v'psik ha'paris lachem, which is a remez and the parsa which is above Havai. Bein Havai, there's Havai Shlomayla mean at Simtzum, and that Havai is Nimshach in Havai. That happens in the Kodesh HaKadosh. Soil Kazem Mamesh, the same soil, which means the same Lamshocha Shelchim La'azozah. V'aynu, why? Shenimshach Pchilas Lifnei Havai, from that Madriga, Lifnei Havai, we draw the energy. Liten apsaras and nitra shela chayas mizeh. We use that energy to give chayas to the lumazeh. Who maskim? I never understood that part. They're maskim al hashef hapnim yishum sham sham zisor v'anam shach v'nusif navai v'shem avai. It's all kinds of maskim. It almost sounds like there is like two forces fighting with each other. So in order to get his agreement, we have to give him something to appease him. That's actually the way, like I said, there are Chaim, and actually, and also in some Kabbalah's form, they described all kinds of soil. Zozel means that we have to appease. We have to appease the powers.
Why do we have to appease them?
That's exactly the point I'm trying to say. That it's a little hard to understand, but it's a marshal. It's a certain kind. The whole system is made in a way that Rebbe created a system that there is L'Umazeh in Kedusha. So the Umazeh has to have, if there will be, let's take a step back. There will be no L'Umazeh, there will be no opposite energy, then the whole system of Torah mitzvahs makes no sense, because there's no challenge. There's only one way. There's no challenge. So the whole system, the way the Rebbe is set up, is that there should be a koyachas of l'umazeh. They should fight. They should stay in a way of Gedusha, and our avodah is to overcome it. That's the way. That's the whole system the Rebbe set up. The shlosh. The Mele, because he set it up in such a way, so the koyachas klipa need to be part of the system, but the language of that you need this agreement needs to be appeased. I always had a hard time really understanding the meaning of it.
With the klipa, with the Baal Shem Tov, with the key, the Chassidus, I don't know.
Exactly. Exactly. In the Chassidus stories say the same thing, that you took it away from that klipa didn't want, like all these type of all these things makes it sound. People can be mistaken thinking that klipa serves their own agenda, their own power, which is not true, obviously. But there's something to it that the Eibishter created the world in such a way that there should be koyachas klipa. We always say that it's all fights. I mean, he gave him a certain power in order for the system to work properly. In order for us, our avodah should be We should always have the choice. We should make our own choice. It shouldn't be just automatic, our avodah. That's why there's a whole system of klippos. So part of that system is it should have powers. So one of the powers given to it is this thing that has to be masculine.
But this is true if it is after the shtashmet. But here is talking about the lifnei havaya, and then lifnei havaya. So you say and the whole idea that doesn't really apply to this.
Right, God, that's the whole point. That how do we that because the Eibush themselves is above everything, that's why he can give highest to klippos also, because he's really above any nothing affects him. So that's why he can give highest to klippos.
But on that level, there is no challenge. On that level, there is no.
Of course, on that level, there's no challenge. Yeah, of course.
So we are saying it's like contradicting. So we are saying there is a challenge, but at the same time,
no, the challenge is here. The challenge is for us.
Correct.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that that we are talking about the level of lifnei havaya. Lifnei havaya, they don't have. There is no challenge, but yet they're saying Kodesh Baruch Hu is giving them what they deserve, or what they ask, or what they demand, just to keep them quiet. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because on that level, there's no need.
Yeah, I hear your points. Like I said, the understanding of this concept needs more. I mean, it's a little hard. It's hard to understand in this language. You know, the way it's expressed here with a language. There's someone who has his own independence, so to speak. He's masking, he's not masking, like as if you asked him or something. So that's a little modern, but I think that itself, the Eibishter created in such a way. He created the system in such a way that he wants there should be the koiches haklipa. Again, in this time I didn't see it, but in other places it says sometimes the language that the fact that the Eibishter created this klipa, that itself is a sign how he is not affected by it. He's in control. The Eibishter is in control. Not just he's in control, he's above it. It's not tefes mokim, like he said. He's above it. So it's almost like saying it doesn't affect him. It's because it doesn't affect him. He could create klippos and then let him be and let him do what they want because he's above it. So from that madriga that he's above it, that's one point. That's one madriga. But then there's a madriga when he wants there should be a world where there should be a battle, should be a zirat karb. It should be a battle scene, a situation of challenges. So the source for this energy, which contradicts him, that comes from the madriga of lifnei havaya. That I'm saying this language that I just said now, that clicks a little more, but the language that he uses here masks him a little. So it still needs more development. Maybe I'll look more into it. Koponim. But the funny thing is, what is he saying here? So he just says masking. There's no masking on shefa. I'm sorry. The klipa is masking shefa. I'm sure the klipa, because klipa, like I said, that because klipa gets his portion of appeasement. That's why it agrees that Eden should get pnimis. I'm sorry. This is still. This whole agreement thing from that the clip we need klippos agreement, something which is hard to understand. What is that? What happens in the end? So in this case, we're still talking about the klippa being having an opinion and having no Mashem, because he's masking in the end that the Eden should get the pneumius. So the end דהיינו, שהחטא החשוב שנקרא פסולס, הגס, מעט מזער, מהטוב, הרי זה נשתום צל הסיום, שזה נשתמך לזוזר של נויסר ואבוינוס. So it's so Mishama Eritcha means Lichaera that it's destroyed. So again, Sasham told some called Chatoisam. So the concept of Sasham has like two opposite meanings in a way. One is Sasham means it throw it away, it's nitche, but at the same time, the clipper gets his chayes.
It's interesting. They also say that man mizeir also the little bit of the good also is tashlichem surat yom. You know, so that also a little bit of the good.
Yes, but the meaning exactly. But the meaning of Sashem Tzal Yom means that it gives chayes. That's what I'm saying. It's like it's almost like two opposite modes here. On one end, Sashem Tzal Yom means it was thrown away, but it also means it gives chayes to the klippos. It means both things. It's not separate clearly.
Right. How is it that it's saying it's giving Tashach B'Mshurah Yom, it's giving chayos? But the same because it has a mad mizeir. I thought we are all along the same mad mizeir is the one that's giving chayos to the Tashach B'Mshurah Yom. My understanding that is, as you said before, is going to be thrown out. It's not going to be destroyed, but it's going to be pushed out.
Yeah, pushed out in the clippers, and the clippers get chayes from it. So that's why they still exist. It's both. It's outside of our realm, but it reaches in Mesilas Yom, and in the Mesilas Yom, it gives them chayes. That's what he just said. And Seir Mishtaleach gives like a appeasement to the negative energy, to the evil power.
Isn't the chayes from Me'ad Mizeir that they have already all along that we have been saying that past?
Yeah, but the stages. Okay, okay. Now there's stages here. There's the Nisha Pselis, like I said earlier on top of the page. The Tavtsoyes Michael Davarach. It means that the clippers get their chayes from that ma'at. Yeah. Okay, I'm not claiming to really understand properly.
So if they have the chayos by the fact that Tashlich B'Mshurah Yom, they're gonna give them more chayos. They're gonna have the existence. They're gonna mamshich their existence. Or what's that?
Mamshich. The Mesilas Yom, I guess, in this context means the kaychas haklipper. Yeah. I think it's something mamshich the chayos. והנה בזה יש איסרים בעניין הווידוי שמסווד המפרת חטוב. But then, in addition to that, you remember that if you remember the davening of Yom Kippur, it says v'isvado, and it's a pasuk in the Chumash in Parshas Achrei. That the Kohen, when he sends the Seir L'Azazel, he also says vid. There's a vidui, right? So what does the vidui mean? He says, שמסווד מפרת חטוב, שיש בחפרס הצדיקים, על ידי זה שלא יהיה סבסוד בחיצונים. Okay, now, you just said all along that we give power to חיצונים. But the vidui that we do b'shas ma'aseh puts a certain seal on the chayes. Let's see how it works. והנה מה שנמשך מהאהבה הליקיס באהבה זו, אז רק האיסיס שבאהבה לבד. We just explained earlier, okay, now he's taking it back to the oisius. Remember, earlier said there's the maisa, there's the oisius. So what happens is, he says that the fact that the ava likis, the ava nefesh likis, is in the end to the ishtalshlut, produces, like I said earlier, remember he said earlier something strong in middle of page Lamed Hey. When the person is the Ava Likis is very strong, that can add energy to the Ava of Nefesh Habahamis. מה שנמשך מהאבה לכיס באהבה זו, זה רק האויסיס שבאהבה לבד. It's the oasis of the Ava, which means the shape, the pure Ava Likis. We used that language earlier in the middle of the page, Lamed Hey. You'll see what it says of the Lashon. רק צירופי האויסיס שבאהבה לכיס, הבחינה האחרונה של אהבה לכיס, נמשך באהבה זו של נפש הבאמס. צירוף האויסיס me, צירוף האויסיס, he's going to use oasis mamash in the practical sense, but it's really a concept. Tzif means the external, most external expression. Oasis nimshachim me'ahava leikis nimshach oasis shem achet k'moy gezel v'kai gavna. That's really interesting. He uses the meaning of oasis in the most simple term. The word gezel, for example, the word is derived from the Av of Nefesh Elikis. Now that's a very strong point he's making this Chatzig. The way the Oasis are in Torah, the way the Shemes HaChatoim are in Torah, when Torah says Lo Sirtzach, so that's the way it's still in Kedusha. That's in the Ava of Shabbat Kedusha. The way it comes into the act of the Avera, then it becomes clear. Okay, that's another starker word, but that needs obviously more elaboration. Okay, so what do we say is the Ois? V'adesha misvada u'masker achet, shem achet, b'zeh u'moitzi u'mafrid l'gama Ois is davar l'kis sheimshach. The vidui, is parsing the concept of vidui. Vidui means saying al-chet. We express in words the names of all the aveiros. What is the point? What is the point of that? He says, because through saying them, we separate them because the chet comes from it originates. In the Avalikis, that's what, in the word of the Avalikis, by expressing them in the speech, by saying Al Chet Shchatonu Fanecha Sham Bagadnu, we say the vidui, and that's general vidui, and the real vidui is you actually tzorich lefaret achet. You can say the name of the actual aver you did. So what happens is, number one, he has a few pirushim. Number one is mafrida is the avalikis. By saying it, you separate the oasis of the shalikif from the act, and the oasis of oil and maya. That's one stage. Gam yeshleima shebizem is battle gam isachatatzi. Another way to see, another understanding of it is that by expressing the words that define the sin, you mevat, you destroy them. But that part, he goes more into explaining how it operates. How does it work? So the two things that he just mentioned in the head are two parts. He mentioned page Lamed Hey, which he started today. What did it say, the two parts? There's the drive, the energy, and the act. Vidu means, when you say vidu, which means, what is the word in English? What is it? What?
Confession.
Right, confession. Okay. The confession, when you misvade, what happens, he says, so confession is expression of the fact that you regret the act. through the tshuva in his heart. So it takes away that energy that went into his avera, and that energy is diverted into the positive realm. So that energy, I've regretted the mele. Since you regret it, it's not in your current state. Your personality, you don't want to do the avera. So it means you take away that energy. That's step one. That's the highest. When you express the avidu in words, when it's expressed in words, וידוע שעל ידי הדיבור נעשה סרס הלב בתשובה עמוק גדולה בייסר. Now he's saying another point. When we say things in words, remember we learned in it's about from Reishis Chachma. When a person is very angry, I remember we spoke about it. There's a shtickle steer in it, but it's important or not. It says in Reishis Chachma, when the person is very angry, what should he do? He should not talk. He should not express his anger in words. When we learned it a few times, I mentioned that in the modern view is, how do you get, when you're angry, vent. Let him vent. Remember this. Let him express his anger. That's where he's going to come down, right? That's a modern approach. But in the Reishis Chachma says the opposite. The person is angry, make sure that he doesn't talk. Why? Because talking about it will make him even angrier. Expressing an emotion in words excites him more. It makes that it goes deeper. The same thing here when I get to vidui. The person sits quietly, and in his heart and his mind, he's regretting all the averos, and he's fully repentant and everything. That's very nice. But when he says it in words and not even says it loud, that makes his feeling of regret and repentance much stronger. It goes deeper. Like I said, when I get to Kas, the person is angry and he talks about it and he screams. That makes the anger deep. That makes the anger stronger. That's a mashal, obviously. So the same thing from the Kas. I'm bringing a mashal to here. Okay, so we have two stages. The person made an avera, failed, and then he's regretting it, and then he wants to do tshuva. So two stages. There's the tshuva in his heart that he actually regrets that he did, and he wants to and he repents, and he feels terrible, and he wants to turn a new page, forget about what he did, which is very good. That by doing that, it takes away the energy, the original energy was invested in Zavera is now transformed. But to saying it and screaming out and confessing, bekoil, aidezem is batlagam etzem ma'aseh. So now it's a new stage in tshuva. Earlier he said in page Lamed Hey, etzem ma'aseh, it's impossible to convert. Now he tells us there is a way sometimes that we say that the screaming out can change the ma'aseh. It transforms the past, that the act itself disappears. How does it work? It's battle. It doesn't say it turns. It doesn't say that it turns into good, but it's misbattle. You can convert it. You can undo it. כידוע שיש בכוח התשובה להגביה החייס. It's interesting to use the word להגביה. It means to remove that energy. גם ממה שבו בהילודה בתום רחמנא ליצלן ומוכרחים מן הילודים לומוס. That's the famous story. The famous story in the Akdama to Bekech Ivrim, where we the story with that remember the story? I guess remember it. That to the tshuva, when the person has forbidden relations with the and that story was with the goy, and he had children. So the children, like it says in Tanya, it says in Tanya actually, that when the person has the be a source, and as a child is born, that's it. He cannot undo it, right? That's a simple understanding. It says in the Gemara. The mamzer is there. So what can you do? No matter how much tshuva you do, there's still the result of the act is alive and kicking. What can you do? So now he tells us that a certain level of tshuva, dibur, can undo and mochacham and alodim lamos. That's the story in Bagdam to Pekech Ivrim. The two children, Tiet from the Goye, drowned. Okay, it's a very radical illustration of the concept that tshuva could undo your evil acts. I don't know how it works in. I mean, yeah, obviously we're talking about extreme radical illustration, but the concept is, let's say you did something terrible, you did something bad, and so there's a certain level of tshuva that the result, the act is undone. You can undo it. So it's a very high madriga of look. When even the Gemara says Elizabeth Dodaya and this, and it doesn't say anywhere that all the acts of Aveir that be turned into good. Aveir is an Aveir. But there is a level of tshuva that it transform, that it undo the bad. Okay, so that's the ending of the video.
When it says Nasser Kizach, it says Kizach. It doesn't say
there's first of all, there are two Gersois. There's Nasser Kizach, there's Nasser Kizach. So okay, so look, there's a few ways. The Alter Rebbe in Tanya Perek Zion tells you a very practical explanation why then it's not like Zochis. Because what's the point of mitzvah, of Averis and mitzvahs? A mitzvah separate you from the Eibush. I'm sorry. Averis separate you from, create a separation between us and the Eibush. And mitzvahs connect us to the Eibush. Now he says over there, if a person feels he fell so low that he wants, that the fact that he feels so low, that itself makes him want to run away and become holy. So the Lashon Tanya is oil validates the ball. So it turns out that the evil act was part of the process of making him want to connect, making him connect. So that means the Aveir itself made him connect to the Eibush, right? So when he reaches such a level of tshuva, that itself makes him connect. So the Aveir is really a positive thing. Turns out, that act of evil was really part of the process of him turning into good. If he would never fall so low, he would never have the drive to do tshuva. That's in Tanya Perek Zion how Alter explains, which is, it sounds like a very technical and reasonable explanation. But that's okay. That's one way to see it, right? But the other way to see it is a person reaches a certain spiritual state that any negative thing you did is just dissolves, because you can zochias kezochias means everything you did is real. We're talking about in your own person, the b'gomim, the negative traits of the person who did the avera, they're all turned into good because he becomes such a holy person. That's a little more abstract. The in Tanya gives it a pretty, like almost a reasonable, logical explanation how that then it becomes zochis, like I just said. But in this memorim, it doesn't bring that point. It just says that the tshuva amok gedel b'yosam is battle gets masachet. So the vidui dvorim basically, that's what he started saying. In opinion,
but it also sounds like what you said before. It's mizbatel. It's not mahapach.
Okay, so that what I mean, it can be mahapach. Let's say in this marshal of the balash erva noidet mana mamzer, And the mamzer stays a mamzer. Even if he dies, it doesn't turn something positive. But the fact that he can undo it, the mice itself is undone, that's already also, it's also madriga. It's also a high level of in other words, tshuva means going forward. Going forward, everything is good. I'm becoming a new person. Now I'm a new person. I'm positive. That's good. But the act of transforming the old act, in other words, the energy that I have within me, that same energy that was used to, the drive that was used to do evil, now it turns good. So we can say that that energy was converted. By the act of evil, can convert, but we can undo it. Undo it, like he says in the Mashal, and Elodim, Mochacham and Elodim Lomas, like in the story of Pekechiv. Okay, so the truth is, if you parse everything you say, there's really a few nuances here that not everything fits exactly. We get the general idea here. All right, continue tomorrow.
Yeah.
Shukra, very nice. Thank you very much.